Hello everyone, welcome to today's Knowledge webinar, Classrooms to Studios, Exploring the Animation Industry with Toon Boom. And today's webinar, it's tailored especially for educators, and we will explore the dynamic world of animation with Toon Boom. You'll be able to learn about the latest trends, emerging technologies, and the diverse career pathways shaping the industry. This session will dive into in-demand skills, the integration of animation to STEM and art curricula, and practical resources educators can use to inspire the next generation of animators. Today's webinar presenter, Bernard Boiteux, is an accomplished educational sales director at Toon Boom Animation with a global track record of fostering innovation and job readiness, especially in the creative industries. He has worked internationally with industry leaders, educational institutions, and governmental organizations to bridge the gap between academia and the professional world. So he's the person you want to talk to today. And now let me show you and tell you a little bit about Knowledge. Knowledge is changing the way designers purchase 3D software, offering a huge selection, best advice, and best prices. Check us out and give us a call. Our phone number is on every page in our catalog, so we're always here for you. And now, without further ado, I'm going to change the screen. Take it away, Bernard.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Barbara. I'm so happy to be here. I'm, a Bay Area boy myself, so it's great to be able to talk to everyone there from, as indicated before, from the beautiful city of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, where it's winter here, and if you were traveling on vacation to winter, this is the place to come. So today we're going to be talking about Toon Boom. You're going to learn who we are, the studios we work with. You get an industry overview. If you're a school and you go, geez, I really want to get into animation, how do I do that? We'll give you an idea for building blocks and a snapshot of a program that one of the best high schools I've ever seen teach animation. And how they kind of approach it. Alignment, we're going to be talking to you about the tools that the industry uses, some of the shows that they're creating and using it on. You're going to see some examples of that technology in use. And the best part is I have some stuff of what high schools can create. You'll see a snapshot of kind of where the pathway, the educational pathway will go from high school to higher ed, resources that we have available, and as earlier stated, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask, because I think that the subject matter is so broad that I want to make sure that it fits your educational pathway, and from there. So kind of as mentioned, who I am, my name is Bernard. I've been with Toon Boom for close to 15 years. I have overseen many markets, and the commonalities that I've seen working internationally, working here in North America, it's the same challenges in the educational space. People are trying to learn these techniques that will lead up to getting more industry in their region, getting more jobs, and no matter where I go, it's always the same thing. Where do I begin? Why should I use Toon Boom? And where is the market going? So Toon Boom has been in the industry for 30 years. Our primary source of business is the major studios. So we work with the major studios in 136 countries around the world. So that includes in North America, Disney and Marvel and Netflix and Amazon and all these guys in Los Angeles. and across the US. We're also throughout Europe, Asia. So if you're watching any of the Asian anime product out of Japan, they've incorporated our technology in many of it. And if you're watching stuff on Netflix, a lot of the Netflix stuff uses us. So kind of an idea of the shows that we are working on or affiliated with the studios that kind of created the content. As I said, we work for the studios. So our technology is designed through the direct input of the entertainment industry. They'll come back and they'll say, okay, we're trying to do a show that has this sort of feature, this sort of technique, and our R&D guys will go to the software, build it, provide it to that particular studio, and we roll it out to everybody else. Because animation is very much like a James Bond movie. It is started in one area and it goes through many countries in some instances before it comes back home to here. And when I mean here, I'm talking North America, I'm talking Los Angeles, I'm talking Atlanta, I'm talking Austin, where these people are doing stuff. And animation is huge. It is a market that is growing, be it for television, feature film, web, explainer videos. There is a ton of verticals that are available for graduates to learn. And you're going to kind of get an idea of why the studios use Toon Boom versus a lot of other softwares. And just to make it clear, you can create animation using paper and crayon. It's just the technique that is put in that it aligns with what the industry needs, and two, simplifies the production process. So just to give you kind of an idea of some of the shows that we're associated with, Rick and Morty, Lion Guard, you got The Simpsons up here, you got F is for Family, Bob's Burgers. There are so many shows that Toon Boom is working with. And when we say work with, the studios will come to us and say, I have this project, can you help me with it? How do we use your technology to best tell our story, best deliver our project, and create enough pop in there? And where do I get talent to help us grow the business? So the two pieces of software that you're going to kind of get a snapshot of today is Storyboard Pro, which is our pre-production software. In the industry, this is used for animation, gaming, live action, military, engineering, web design, anything that has a story or an idea that is associated with it that you're trying to get across to an audience goes through Storyboard Pro. And I'll have a couple of examples of what a storyboard should look like for both animation and for live action. But this is, for many schools and many teachers, is a great way to start, because a great story needs to be discovered first before animation begins. You can have the coolest looking characters, you can have the greatest assets out there, but if it doesn't tell a story, no one's going to watch it. And we've all sat through shows and go, oh my God, I can't believe they made this. Well, many times they didn't have the right boards, or they weren't able to fix it properly. The other software that is in the schools and the studios is Harmony. And Harmony is a complete animation software. So you can do, whether it's hand-drawn animation, you can do puppet animation. In this particular case, you can do gaming. So you can create assets that are used with Unity. You can incorporate 3D in there. You can do your effects compositing. So this is a complete solution for the studios and schools. And we have a lot of schools that have used the entire pipeline of Storyboard Pro and Harmony. So we're going to come back to this in a second, but I want to give everybody an idea of what the industry looks like today. So we all have these at home, right? You have Netflix, Amazon, Peacock, HBO, Apple, Disney, plus many others, and not just domestically, but internationally. And all of these platforms come back to the same thing. We need content, we need to sell subscriptions, we need ideas to be able to capture more people to come to my platform. So Netflix recently made a deal, or last year made a deal with WWE, and now you can watch WWE activities on their platform. They're constantly looking for people to come in and buy those subscriptions. But what is interesting and what many people don't know is that thanks to these platforms, the amount of episodes and the timeline for those episodes has greatly reduced. So as an example, a show like The Simpsons, which is hand-drawn, storyboarded in Los Angeles, animated overseas, come back, does the post-production in Los Angeles, for one episode takes about 14 weeks. Well, for many of these streaming platforms, you have to be able to do an episode a month, which means the technology has to be able to be available for those artists to move very quickly, to come out with a certain patina and have that flexibility that it could go from an anime or a Bart Simpson to something very technical like a Mickey Mouse per se. So you need to have that particular tool, which we do. So we at Toon Boom and our executives meet with many of these studios so that we are relevant to their pipeline needs. And as we're looking at the industry, and we've seen that, you know, last year there was a writer's strike, content dropped. Just because the content dropped doesn't mean the demand isn't there. And many schools and many universities and students are trying to create their own ideas to hit onto these platforms. And it doesn't just mean here in North America, the content is global. And those of you who have Netflix might be watching Squid Games or a lot of other content coming out of Korea or Japan or India, because there's an audience for that. I myself am a huge fan of the Korean stuff. They're looking for stuff that is unique, that can find an audience no matter what the language. So just to kind of give you an idea, and then we're kind of moving on to where those careers lead to. Here is what's being watched within those platforms. And you'll notice a huge chunk of it is drama and action, comedy, adventure, but animation is here, which is a good side of it. However, Toon Boom is associated and affiliated with many of the other genres that are being on those platforms, where they're going to use for the live action stuff, Storyboard Pro. For the animated stuff, they're going to use Harmony. And for some of the other science fiction stuff, or you're going to have Harmony, but you're going to use the effects and compositing tools. So our tools are designed to make sure that the productions that are being done, and again, I'll have a couple of examples for you, are relevant to what the director and the show producers and the platform needs. Which kind of takes us to the next step. Okay, Bernard, you've talked to us. This is where the industry is going. What are the jobs, right? Where can the graduates go either? And there's two options. I'm a high school student. I want to become an animator. I want to be a storyboard artist. I want to work in 3D. Great. The school will teach those skills. And they have two choices at the end of their high school period. A, I'm going to go on to a great institution and I'm going to get a BA or a master's in animation, or I'm going to become a journeyman and I'm going to start taking my knowledge and skills and starting to work within the industry. So as indicated, these are, you know, all the areas where we apply. And when we break that down, right, the number one place that a lot of these students will go and try to get a career in is film and television. As a 3D animator, a storyboard artist, a character designer, the video game industry, where they're a game animator, an environmental artist, or a motion capture specialist. These are things that you still need to have a storyboard of what the game is going to look and feel like. We have advertising and marketing. We have web and app development. So all these kind of positions, and the last one, which I always find hilarious, is freelance and entrepreneurship, where people want to go start a studio. And we see that often. I've seen high schools, I've seen colleges where the people who are graduating are coming out and they are practically job ready, where they're going out and they want to start their own idea. They want to start their own IP. They want to get to a point where they contribute and make money out of their chosen career. So there's a huge opportunity now where a lot of the graduates who have developed their IP, developed their ideas, are taking those and they're using it on platforms like Webtoons. So Webtoons, you can build your story, you can get a following on there, and Netflix and some of the other streamers take a look at Webtoons. Many of the shows that are coming from Korea on Netflix, funny enough, started off as ideas, concepts, comic books, little animated series on Webtoons, and they got picked up and they're moving over into a real production. So it is something that the students have that ability to do. And again, I know of a high school, which we're going to talk about in a minute or so, that they're doing the same thing. They were fortunate enough to get mentorship from a major studio, and they developed IP, and these are 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds that have started developing IP for shows that they think their audience will find, and they're pitching it to the major studios. So that whole curve, depending on the school, depending on the teacher's passion, can really take students really far. And you know, and just kind of give you an idea of how much an animator can make and why this is a viable career. Someone with experience can start making $100,000 a year. I know artists that make more than that because they are skilled and they're proficient with that techniques, or they understand what the industry is looking for. And I'll tell you, these guys are very successful, and I've seen some of their houses, and I'm going, oh, that's nicer than my house. So where does the school begin? So it always comes back to the building blocks of animation. And the best thing about animation, it solves a lot of issues that teachers and schools and districts are learning to solve. One, you're forced to work as a group, like a football team, like McDonald's, or any other environment which is team with a team environment. You need to communicate what you're doing with other people. It forces you to develop soft skills. You cannot be a kid who just wants to, you know, I just want to do a face. No, you have to engage. You have to communicate and accept critical, you know, feedback, and develop critical thinking when you're looking at a project. Well, where does the story goes? So developing a vision. So we have a lot of middle schools incorporating Storyboard Pro early on, because it takes the kids' reading skills and understanding the material, and they're going, great, this is wonderful. what does that look like? We're doing Shakespeare. It's Romeo and Juliet. I'd like you to sketch that out and recreate a portion of scene 2. And then the kid will go into Storyboard Pro and they have to figure out what that looks like so they understand it. They don't have to know how to draw. They can do it in stick figures. But it is a great way for them to, great way for the teacher to understand what the student knows, but it's great for the student to show that the material that he just read, he gets. Then there's creative writing. So again, you're looking, animation is very cross curricula. You need physics, you need math, you need a whole bunch of stuff to create animation one form or another. And each of these 9 points is a great way to begin. And early on, so I said this would be middle school. This is middle school or junior high. This is where junior high comes in and they start learning the technology. They start building a concept for a show, because a show, you have to do a pitch Bible. And a pitch Bible gives you an idea of what the show looks like, who are the characters on the inside, what is their story, and then you got to kind of figure out 6 to 10 episodes. What is the scenario for each of those episodes, and why should you care? And you kind of work your way all the way through, and this is just a tip of an iceberg. One of the high schools that I work with shares a slide of kind of what they look at when they're working and this is more of an advanced program, but everyone who's coming into grade 9, exploration of the motion picture arts. So scripts, understanding story, all these wonderful elements. And then they kind of progress even further. So now they're going into set design. They're going, okay, well, what is the environment? How do we do color? Introduction to interactive digital media. So all these things by grade 11, now they're doing the fundamentals of animation. And just so you know, maybe some of you are artists, some of you aren't. The principles of animation apply, and there's 12 of them, and they apply to gaming, they apply to 3D, they apply to engineering. You are making a drawing or an object live and breathe. And a great one to kind of, what does that look like, is when you watch a Pixar movie, you have the lamp. And that lamp doesn't do very much apart from moves the head around and then hops, but it took an inanimate object and it made it exciting, right? This is kind of what the kids are doing. And by the time they come out, in this particular case, these kids are getting industry mentorship. So it is something that high schools and junior high all the way can get a very concentrated program, and the progression, the skills that they develop, they can go very far within the industry because they now have 2 to 3 more, in this particular case, 4 years more of learning to go into than those people in the university and college level, because there's a big focus on it. And I've seen stuff coming out of high schools that I cannot believe were created by kids. So as we move forward, right, let's go back and take a look at when we talk about industry alignment. We know what the kids can do. Well, now we need to understand the technology and why the industry chooses Toon Boom, why the schools are incorporating us in, why the tertiary schools have incorporated us in, is because we're relevant. And yes, you can do animation with a lot of other products out there, but it's that unified pipeline that helps speed up the production process. Many times it's not about understanding or having a great ability to do drawing and coloring. It's the understanding of the tools that will help make those drawings and storytelling much easier. So Storyboard Pro, as I indicated before, is a pre-production tool. In the industry, this is where shows go to die. So an animatic, they're going to do the quick sketches, they're going to build a scenario, and they're going to create a little animation like this.
Welcome back to the satellite moon of Gaia. Millions of fans eagerly watching us down to the last lap of the annual race around the moon. This has been one bloodbath of a race, folks. And after a few mishaps, we have 3 racers still determined to make the finish. Currently in the lead is Nash Calloway.
So if I'm a producer, I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, I understand who the characters are. I understand who my audience is. I understand this is an action story. The characters look great. I love this. Wonderful. Let's go for a proper 2D test where I get a little more polished look. My characters are drawn out, and I want to see how that feels. But at a story stage, this is going to get me excited. And this with schools is a very easy thing to do, because with Storyboard Pro is panels and scenes, and all they have to do is draw the characters, figure out what the beat of the story is, put it in the software or draw it into the software, and then develop an animatic. And and I'm not an artist. First and foremost, I am not an artist, but I did have the opportunity to sit down with one of our specialists and learn how to do storyboarding. It was amazing. It was fun. I couldn't believe it took me, what was it? It was about a half an hour to create a 10-second rough scene of an island in an ocean with birds and a fish happens to be exploding story. And I'm going, geez, I wish I knew this as a kid. But a lot of other industries use this. So the automotive industry, engineering, military, scientific, other places that are outside of animation use this because they need to understand what is the story you're trying to sell as a product or as a show or as a building. So this is very important. Now, using the same tool for a live action show, and this is a real show that's on Amazon. I know the storyboard artist behind this, and he's amazing. And this is a same tool, different use. And now I'm creating a very expensive television show, and I want to know what my scenes are.
Can you undo my hands? Because I really.
How does it feel?
Get us out of here.
And all these videos, especially the Mark Simon stuff, you can find on YouTube. And he's done a lot of productions, including The Walking Dead, Stranger Things, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, on top of so many other shows. But as I said, the difference between this, or the commonality, let me use that word better, between this and the other one is the same tool. It has a different application for the scenario. When we're looking at animation, now we're becoming a little more specific. We know who is going to be using this. All we need to figure out is it a 2D show, which is hand-drawn? So imagine Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse back in the day. A puppet-related show, so if you think of a Rick and Morty or a Cuphead, you can also go into a hybrid show. So this is where they incorporate multiple styles. So it could be live action and a cartoon like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or you're going to see something along the line of a 2D, 3D. So if I watch, and I'm going to use a show that just happens to incorporate some of this, Final Space, where you have hand-drawn, you have puppet animation, you have 3D, you have very cinematic in nature. These are shows that have used this technology. It has that flexibility. And the reason, again, that the industry chooses this over other softwares out there is, one, we play well with other softwares. So if you're doing 3D and you have Autodesk, We play well with that. We play well with Adobe, Photoshop. We play well with Blender. We do Unreal. We can work with a Unreal engine, but we can integrate with through an SDK for Unity. The studios use us as a Sherpa. We're the center point of many of their productions. And just to kind of give you an idea of a hand-drawn, this is a beautiful show. And it's a hybrid on top of it. This is beautiful.
Jesper Johansson, postman.
It looks
Mr. Klaus,
flat and CG.
you
It
were
has
meant
CG
for
in
making
it.
toys. So I
But
figured
most of the
if you
scenes,
donate
or
your
the
old
bulk of the
toys,
scenes, are
I'll
all
deliver them for
hand
free.
drawn. And they put a lighting effect because to do 3D, 3D is very expensive, and bad 3D or 3D done badly shows. You have beautiful work like Pixar does, or some of the other major studios, but then you have other stuff that are out there and you go, geez, you know, it doesn't look great. What they did here is they took the 2D aspects and then they put a lot of effects on it to give it that volume, to give it look like a 3D object. And that show actually helped bring back 2D classic style of animation to the industry. But then you have something like this, puppet animation. This is a little faster to do. This is simple puppet. But this is
Introducing Hero Elementary.
this is more. Sorry. This is more. When you say puppet, you know you're drawing a character, you're breaking it up in its components, and then you're reassembling it. And a lot of the work is done at the pre-production phase, but a lot more shows are done like this. And in the past, you could tell a puppet show because it didn't have that natural flow to it. When you watch a show like the Cuphead show, oh my goodness, that's all puppet. These are, you know, you're doing poses, you're doing keyframes, and then the software does it, does the interpolation. I can't say it today. Makes it look animated, and it is something that really accelerates the amount of time for the production to be done. It is still a lot of work. No animation is quick and easy, but it is a way to do. And then when we get to what high schools can do, it's even more amazing because animation isn't easy. But when you have kids who are passionate about it, teachers who understand how to get the best out of their students and really make them feel like they can contribute, you are getting magical stuff. And I'm going to show you something that was done by high school here. It's just beautiful. This was done by a school here in Canada called Sisler. And this program is so good that the studios go running here for possible ideas or talent. And even universities will come and say, I want these kids, I want to give them a full scholarship, because the creativity that they come with, and they kind of master the technology as well as the technique. But this was done by 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And if you watch the whole thing, and I would invite you to go to their create website. So it's Sisler High School create. Just put that into your search engine and just watch the videos that these kids made. Some of these things are so captivating. I want to know more. If this was a series, I would actually watch it. So these kids, and again, high school kids have the ability to put out quality work and take on some of the more daunting tasks. So every year, the University of California, Long Beach puts out this amazing contest called the 24 Hours of Animation. And this I liken to a litmus test of where your program stands, be it university, college, or high school, against other major institutions around the world. So the contest, they have to create 24-hour, they have to create 30 seconds of animation within 24 hours, which for professionals is insane. For these kids, they're teams of 5, they do amazing stuff. And kids from this particular high school participated a few years back in 2022, and they participate every year. And my goodness, the stuff that they do is amazing. They had, what was it? They were up against 400 plus teams of university students and teams from around the world, from noted animation schools. And they finished 8th overall, or maybe 7th overall. Sorry, no, 8th overall, beating out some of the big name schools. And it's not because they knew as much or less than some of those big name schools, because these kids are super passionate. And here's the video that actually placed well. And again, to do this hand-drawn within 24 hours is a daunting task. And it's 30 seconds, so I'll just let it run. That's brilliant. It was a good story. It was well done, well animated. And many of these kids have gone on, as I said, to go on to university, where the universities are giving them scholarships to go to their schools, because they know, these schools know that having these kids or kids with similar programs in their program helps the entire student body of the college and the university within their animation programs. And here is one from that same school who's gone on to university, and I showed this to my colleagues. And again, my colleagues are associated with some of the biggest studios, the biggest productions around the world, and when they saw this, they kind of went bananas. The timing is beautiful. The animation is spectacular. This is someone who's taken the knowledge of the skills and the knowledge of the pipeline, of the tools to make something spectacular. And she, like a lot of the other people within her school, have a really bright future within the industry, and we're really happy. So, and the best part is we've actually worked with the Sisler High School to create our courseware. And the biggest challenge that we know within the industry, especially the teaching world, is that the students are eager to learn. Many times the teachers don't know where to start. So working with a school that has some of the best output we have ever seen around the world to build something that has the rubrics and the assignments and everything that the student needs to lead up to certification is great. And we have other high schools across the US that have actually incorporated this in, and their students are spectacular. They're coming out ahead of the game. They're going into a higher ed institution and they're dominating because they're using the same tools that the industry uses. They're not using something that they go, oh, we like this because it was free or whatever. They know it costs a little more, but they have the skills, they understand the technique, they incorporate it together, and they make a fluid story. And it really opens up the door for these people either post-high or post-university. And just to give you an idea of some of the schools, and we have a lot of higher ed schools all across the US and North America, which, you know, UCLA and SCAD and NYU, but there are so many schools that we can help. You know, if you go, who's the school in my area, just let us know. And I will have Barbara and her team would be more than happy to get that information for you and move forward. The other thing that we also have, as I mentioned, associate certification. Now, like any other industry out there, certification is great. It is. Many studios do look for it because when you're going into the professional world, knowing the technique is great. You need to know it. Understanding the tools and using the tools that the industry has is essential. You cannot get a job, or unless you have that skill level, that is, you're like Mozart for animation. The studios will not teach the software to the people coming in. You have to come in work ready. You have to come in day one. All I need to know is show me the production. What do I need to know about the production, and how can I contribute to become a major, a good employee within that production team? Because as I mentioned, it is a team like football. You don't, if there's a problem somewhere, the production stops, and studios cannot stop production. So the certification helps the studios understand that these students or these applicants understand the tools that they are using. They still have to do a portfolio. They still have to do a test to make sure that they fit in, but they also that they can properly fit into the rest of the production, because it's all about the production. It's a crazy world, but we do have certification, and as I said, the courseware leads to that. So we have courseware for Storyboard Pro, we have courseware for Harmony, and it does touch upon classical style of animation or the hand-drawn animation to the puppet animation, a little bit compositing. So it really gives the student free reign. And many of the schools that have, as I said, have used it, that love it, the students that really capture and get engaged with the use of this software and move ahead end up helping the rest of the kids in the class better understand the techniques that they're trying to learn. Because as I said, certification is one thing, but if you don't have the skills, I could be certified in hotel cooking, but I might be a terrible chef. So just because I have one doesn't necessarily mean I have the ability to get the job. I always put that out there. The other thing is we have a ton of free resources, and I would always invite people to go to our Twitch channel, because we have a lot of professionals that come on there and talk about the industry, talk about the technique. They do drawing event. They show how to use the tools in certain scenarios. It is a great free resource to have. We also have a free learning platform, which is learn.toonboom.com. So if you're a teacher and you go, well, I want to figure out how to do that, this is great. But for those of you who go, you know, I just want to understand more how it could help me in my classroom, how I can get my students really engaged, well, then we have an offer for you. And it's simple. All you need to do is talk to Barbara and her team, or you send something to me and go, I was part of this webinar. I really want to get a demo. And again, I will get it to Barbara and her team. You'll get, you do the demo for either Storyboard Pro or Harmony, you're going to get 25% off on your first order. The only way you're getting that is because of this event, and it has to go through there. So with that said, any questions? I've been talking for quite a bit of time, and for me, I would love to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Bernard. No, you were so engaging, and there are no questions because we were all captivated.
Really?
I think.
Well, lucky me.
And thank you for the great tips, best advice, and for showing the amazing content, the great works. These kids are amazing, by the way. These are the future. They are the future, and I saw so many of the works that you mentioned, you know, from Netflix and all this. This is incredible. I had no idea you had your hands everywhere, but good to know.
We are in so many shows that I'll see something and go, hey, are we there? And they come back and, yeah, we're there. I go, oh, I thought we missed something.
No, that's great. And what a great offer. So I urge everybody to contact us. I want to show the Novage page where everybody is welcome to take a look at the product. The Toon Boom offer is open to everybody, and give us a call or you know, reach out to them directly. But we're here for you. Our phone number is on every page of our catalog. It's up top. You can't miss it. And we're really, there's no AI, you know, there's real people talking to you. And if you need other type of software that go with Toon Boom or, you know, the complementary, we're here. So this is the best part of shopping in Novage, because the huge selection, and you know, you're guaranteed the best price all the time. So thank you again, Bernard, for today's presentation. That was lovely, and hope it helps a lot of instructor and a lot of students making choices, great choices for their future careers.
Absolutely, and thank you again for inviting us. And for people who want to see more about the software, so they can come back to the catalog, it's toonboom.com. We have stories, we have a lot of stuff in there. Yeah, easy for us to be found.
Great, and check us out at novage.com. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye-bye.